Hello everybody, hope you're all doing well. This is Soshiance. Today we are going to explain the internet protocol. Whatever the things we are going to cover, what is IP address, we'll explain, and secondly IP categories, which is mainly IP version 4 and IP version 6. Then we are going to talk about what is private IP addresses and public IP addresses, the comparison between IP version 4 and IP version 6, and some practical tasks for better understanding. Okay, so let's move on. First of all, let's say what is IP address. IP address is just an internet protocol. If we say what is protocol, simply we can say the rules and conventions for successful communication between networks and network devices. And when we say IP address, internet protocol address, we can say that is just a logical address. Like in the real world, when we are sending a post, a mail to an address, we are using the street address, the postal code, the country code. But in the cyber world, when we are sending a packet, a frame, we are using the IP address. This is a logical address and this is changeable. Just simply you can assign and you can change. Simply you can go to run and type in cpa.cpl, press enter, and you can see you have the Ethernet port, which is the NIC card of your PC, and you have the Wi-Fi, also the Bluetooth. All the devices which have Ethernet, Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, you can assign IP address. Simply you can right click and you can go to properties. Scroll down here, you can see IP version 4 and IP version 6. It depends on you, and you can assign the IP address you want, or you can change it later to any IP based on your need. Furthermore, the company or the organization which is responsible for IP distribution worldwide, that is called IANA. And IANA stands for Internet Assigned Number Authority. So this is the organization which is responsible to distribute IP addresses to ISPs. Actually, not directly to ISPs. Let me show you. There is a okay, in this picture it's more clear. IANA has sub-branches, and IANA just distribute IP addresses to those sub-branches. Like for example, for Asia, Aptec is responsible. For Europe and Russia, RIP, and for Africa, Afrinet. For Central and South America, that is LACNIC. For North America, ARIN, ARIN. The IANA or IANA distribute IP addresses to these sub-branches, and these sub-branches have also their own sub-branches, like this picture you can see. ARPANET has several other sub-branches, and these sub-branches gets the IP address and distribute the IP address to our local ISPs, internet service providers, and then from ISPs we can get the IP address. So this is about the IANA, the organization which is globally responsible for distributing IP addresses. And as I said, NIC, the devices which has NIC card or Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, they can get the IP address. Okay, so if we talk about the IP categories, mainly there are two types of IP. One is IP version 4 and another one is IP version 6, which IP version 4 is being divided into classes, class A, class B, class C, which later we'll talk in details about. And some of those IP addresses are private and some of those IP addresses are public. And same case with IP version 6, which has its sub-branches and sub-categories, which is global uniqueness, unique local, and public local. We're going to talk about later. If I scroll down, let's say in details, if we talk about IP version 4. Okay, first of all, let me show you a slide which is a comparison between IP version 4 and version 6. Then we will go in details and I'm going to explain IP version 4. The first thing, IP version 4 is the fourth version of Internet Protocol, but IP version 6 is which is the you can say the latest version. The amount of valid IP address that we can get from IP version 4, that is 4.3 billion IP addresses, and from the amount of IP addresses which we can get from IP version 6 overall will be 340 and zillion, which is a huge number of IP addresses. If we in billion, it will be what, 340 billion. Okay, so the reason that IP version 6 came up because we were facing lack of IP addresses with IP version 4. That's why IP version 6 came up, and now we have a lot of IP addresses and we will not face lack of IP addresses. Another thing is that the IP address is using decimal number, which is 129. You can see this is a sample of IP address. IP version 4, 192.168.10.1. You can see all of them are just the numbers from 1 to 9. That is decimal number. But on the other side, IP version 6 is using hexadecimal, which includes the numbers from 1 to 9 and the alphabets from A to F. You can see this is the sample of IP version 6, and it includes the numbers and it includes the alphabets from DB from A to F. And IP version 4 has 4 octets. You can see this is 1 octet, 2 octets, 3 octets, and 4 octets. But on the other side, IP version 6 has 8 fields. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fields. And the IP version 4, each IP version 4 equals to 32 bits. What does it mean? It means that if we convert this IP address into binary, it will be 32 zeros and 1. For example, if we convert 192 to the binary, it will be 1100000, 6 zeros and 2 ones. So 8 zeros and ones here, and 8 zeros and ones this one, and same case 8 zeros and 1 will be for 10, and 8 zeros and 1 will be for 1. Overall it will be 32 zeros and 1, which equals to 32 bits or 4 bytes. On the other side, the IP version 6 is 128 bits. It means if we convert this IP address to binary, overall it will be 128 zeros and 1. IP version 6 are being separated by colon, you can see here, but IP version 4 is separated by dot. IP version 4 has broadcast. We will later talk about that, what is broadcast IP. And in a network, a broadcast IP is just the IP that when you use that IP, you can send whatever you want to all the clients in that specific network. But in IP version 6 there's no broadcast, but there is multicast. You can send whatever you want to several clients, several endpoints at the same time. And IP version 4 is using subnet mask. We will talk about what is subnet mask. Subnet mask is just like to specify one specific IP address that it belongs to which class of IP version 4, but IP version 6 is using perfect length / notation, you can call it. So we will talk about that in details. Okay, so now let's go to IP version 4. As I said, IP version 4 has been divided into classes, several classes: class A, class B, class C. These 3 classes that normally we are using. Class E and D we are not using in the industry currently. Okay, class A, the range starts from 0.0.0.0 and ends in 127.255.255.255. It just includes some loopback IP addresses as well. About the network, let's say we say that it is 4 octets, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just the first octet in class A that is called network. The rest three of them is called host, belongs to host. And this is called the subnet mask. For class A, the subnet mask is 255.0.0.0. The first 255 is indicating that this is the class A IP address, class A IP version 4, and that is classful IP address which is not subnetted. And 0.0.0 is indicating just the three last octets are host. And some of the IP addresses are private and some of the IP addresses are public. In IP version, class C, I'm going to explain in details. Just now remember that the private range for class A is 10. The first octet must be 10, and the second octet, third octet, or fourth octet can be anything from 0 to 255. This is the private range. If you come to class B, it starts from 128.0.0.0 and ends in 191.255.255.255. For the class B, first octet and second octets are network, and third and fourth one is host. The subnet mask for class B is 255.255.255.0.0. The private range is, all the IP addresses are public, just this specific range is private. We're going to talk about what is private and what is public. The range is from 172.16.x.x, any IP address, and up to 172.31.x.x. This is the private range for IP version for class B. But if you come to class C, it starts from 192.0.0.0 to 223.255.255. For class C, three first octets are network, 1, 2, 3, and the last one is for host. And the subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. It means 255 first octets are network and the last one is host. And the private range for class C is 192.168. This is a must, the two first octets must be the same. 192 and the second octet should be 168. And the third and fourth one can be anything within the range. Okay, so now let's talk about that. This is the range. If we talk about the network and host, what is the network? That just I said network, three first octets is the network, two first octets are the network, and one first octet is the network. So what is network? We can say simply network is just the devices, network devices which are connected together and are using IP address from the same range. For example, if we come to class C, this is a sample of class C. We say the first octet, the second octet, and the third octets are network. It means any changes that we bring in this first, second, or third octet, then we are changing the whole network. But if we are only changing the last octet, then we are not changing the network. We are just changing the host, the one individual IP address. Okay, now let me open. I think I have a diagram here. For example, in this one, this is a diagram. You can see this PC is using 192.168.1.2, and this PC is also using that IP address 192.168.1.1. You can see these two devices, these two pieces are using the same network, 192. Why same network? Because you can see this is a class C IP address, and for class C IP address, three first octets are the network, and you can see three first octets are the same, 192.168.1, 192.168.1. and just the last octet is changed. You can see 1.1 and 1.2. So it means these two devices, these two pieces are in the same network. And when I'm trying to check the communication between these two devices, I just go and ping. First check the IP address that this IP address is configured. 192.168.1.2, exactly same IP address. And you can see the subnet mask is 255.255.255. Simply it is indicating that this is class C. Okay, so now I just ping this computer to see whether is there a successful connection or not. Ping is an ICMP protocol just to check the connections between devices. 192.168.1.1. You can see I can receive reply from this computer. But if I ping another computer, this computer for example, which is from a different network, why you can see the third octet is different. The third octet is 2. If I ping, I should not receive reply because this is different network, 192.168.2.1. Request timeout, and I'm not receiving any reply. If I ping even this one, ping 192.168.2.2, and I'm not receiving any reply. Why? Because they are different networks, and we have used class C IP address and different networks. But if I go and change the IP address, the range, this one to this same range, just I go to IP configuration, and this one is I changed 1 to 1 dot, this piece is 1.1, this piece is 1.2, and I configured this piece is 1.3. Okay, I configured IP address. Now this PC and this PC, they are the same network. Now I should be able to ping this one as well, 192.168.1.3. You can see I am receiving reply from that. So this is what a network means. While in a LAN, the devices which are using the IP address from the same range, from the same network, they are able to communicate with each other. But if you are using different networks, then you need to use a router, and you need to configure routing protocols, maybe RED, maybe EIGRP, or any appropriate routing protocol based on our. So this is called, this is what network is and the IP address. If you go to class C IP address, just I'm explaining class C in details. So class A and class B, you yourself, you can go through. The first range, first network starts from 192.0.0.0. Always the first IP address is called network ID or network IP. This is the first network, the first IP address of a network. But if we move on, you can see 192.0.0.1 is the first valid IP. We can assign that one in our devices. This is the second valid IP, and this is the third valid IP. So you're just increasing up to 192.0.0.254. The last valid IP that we can assign is 254. But the last IP address of this network is 192.0.0.255, which is called the broadcast IP for that specific network. For this specific network, this is the broadcast IP. What does it mean? It means when we are sending a packet, and when we want to send a packet to all the devices within this network, we can use this IP address, and it will broadcast the packets to all the endpoints. But at the moment, Cisco do. The second network of class C is 192.0.0.1. You can see just any if you're changing in the first, second, or third, then the network is being changed. But any changes that you bring on the last one, the network is not changing. This is the first IP address, which is the network IP. 1.1 is the valid IP up to 1.254, and the broadcast IP is 192.1.0.1.255. And the last network for class C is 223.255.255.0. This is the broadcast, the network ID. This is the valid IP, and the last valid IP is 223.255.254, and the last IP of class C, which is the broadcast IP for this network, is 223.255.255.255. So this is class C IP addressing, and this is the class full IP addressing. When so subnetting is another topic. Maybe I will make a video on that. You can subnet this one network to other sub networks. And when we come to class D, it starts from 224 to the 0.0.0 up to 239.25.255, which is used for multicasting. And another class is class E, which starts from 240.0.0, which is reserved for the experimental uses. Okay, this is the IP addresses. And one thing that I have talked about, that is private IP addresses and public IP addresses. Some of the IP addresses in version 4 is called public, and some of them are private. Well, almost all the IP addresses are public, just the specific range. In class C, in class A, as I explained, 10.x.x. In class B, this is the range for the, in class C, this one is the range, and in class B, this is the range for private IP addresses. But what is private IP addresses and what is public? Okay, let me see which slide that was. Okay, if we just focus on this diagram, this is the internal network, our internal network. You can see here we have a mail server. Here we have the PCs. You can see we have these PCs. We have configured VLANs, UTPs, router only stack, DSP, and these are the PCs and the devices, whatever. But one thing that you notice, I have used all the private IP addresses. This is class C, 192.168. This is the private IP address. This is a private IP address class A. This is private IP address class A. Private IP address. All the IP addresses which are used within this within the network inside our private network is private IP address. But focus on this part. This is the router which is connected to our ISP, internet service provider. From this router, this is our exit door to the internet. Just through these paths, we can connect to the internet. But here you can see I have used the public IP address. Okay, and here the protocol which is used, NAT, Network Address Translation Protocol, which is translating all the private IP addresses within this network to this public IP address. Okay, whenever we are sending the, whenever we want to access our, let's say the WAN internet, we need to use the public IP address. Private IP address, we cannot access them remotely. That is why we need the public IP address to access remotely, in order to access internet, in order to send an email, in order to have a communication with the WAN, wide area network. And that is why we need the public IP address. We cannot use all the, the public IP addresses within our network, inside our private network. The first reason is that the public IP addresses are not free and you need to buy. The second reason is because of the security issues. If you use public private IP address inside your network, then that is safer, and you can configure some protocols, you can configure some, let's say, firewalls or IPAs or different kinds of protocols and policies which can secure your network. So this is why this is how we are using public and private IP addresses. And sometimes you can configure the mail server or the servers. You can, if you want to access them remotely, you can use public IP address, but here I use the private IP address. It doesn't matter. This is what the public IP address and private IP address and how you're using. Okay, so this is all I think about class, about IP version 4. I think it's enough. If you go to IP version 6, IP version 6 also have its own subcategories, which is global unicast. Global unicast is just like public IP version 4, which is starting with 2 and 3, and we have unique local, which is like private IP addresses that we have in version 4. We have link local, which is functioning as a PPOP that we have in version 4, which is starting with FEAT, and unique local is starting with FC and FD. This is all about the IP addressing. Thank you very much for watching. Please check it out and like, comment, subscribe for more. Also, you can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, also on Fiverr, on Steamate, of course my YouTube channel. And thank you very much. Stay tuned for future videos. Have a good day.